The year is 1939. Britain is an island nation, and the Atlantic Ocean is its very lifeline. Every ounce of fuel, every weapon, every morsel of food traveled across these dark waters. If that lifeline was severed, Britain would starve, and Adolf Hitler knew it. The weapon designed to sever that lifeline was the Unterseeboot, or U-boat, fast, deadly, and virtually invisible beneath the waves. In the early days of the war, these steel sharks were unmatched. They hunted in silence, striking with brutal efficiency. This was the start of the Battle of the Atlantic, the longest continuous battle of World War II. The period between 1940 and 1941 became known by U-boat crews as the first happy time. Merchant ships often sailed alone, poorly armed, or not at all. A lone U-boat could sink a dozen ships in a single patrol. In 1 month, German U-boats sank over 1 million tons of Allied shipping. Britain was being choked. Prime Minister Winston Churchill would later admit that the only thing that truly frightened him during the war was the U-boat peril. The U-boats rarely hunted alone. Under the command of Admiral Karl Dönitz, they adopted the terrifying wolf-pack tactic. A single U-boat would spot a convoy, radio its position, and then wait. As night fell, dozens of U-boats, a wolf-pack, would surface and attack simultaneously. The dark sea was filled with explosions, panicked flares, and the terrifying silence after a ship went down. The Allies had to adapt, and their first defense was a return to an old strategy, the convoy system. Merchant ships were grouped together, protected by heavily armed warships like destroyers and corvettes. A single ship became a difficult, dangerous target, instead of an easy kill. The destroyers hunted the hunters, using radar and sonar, or ASDIC, to detect the silent threat beneath the waves. The war above the waves had a silent twin, the war of intelligence. The Germans relied on their seemingly unbreakable Enigma machine to communicate with their U-boats, but at a secret location in Britain, the code breakers of Bletchley Park were slowly, painstakingly breaking the code. This was a game changer. Once they could read the German messages, Allied command could reroute convoys away from the lurking wolf packs. This intelligence was so secret, it was known only as Ultra. The technological arms race intensified. Allied planes, equipped with long-range fuel tanks and new powerful radar, began patrolling the mid-Atlantic gap where U-boats were previously safe. New weapons like the Hedgehog mortar and improved depth charges made it harder for U-boats to escape once detected. The U-boat crews, once the proud hunters, were now increasingly the hunted.